Welcome back to the railroad, everyone. Today we got a little different project. Welcome back to the railroad, everyone. Today we're going to be setting up the lights for our new solar power setup in the backyard. So, I have an old lantern here that used to be a candle lantern, and I placed 3 flickering orange lights in that. We'll see how that does. The other thing I'm going to do is we have a string of these, what used to be old solar lights. I pulled them off. I found out which is the positive wire and which would be the negative for hooking it up to a 12-volt system. And I have a battery. So let's get into this and have some fun. So for our little exercise, we have this little light we're going to use. This used to be a candle lantern. I now have 3 LEDs in it that are orange flashing. Okay. Just to test this, our actual power supply out there will be roughly 12 to 14 volts, depending on how the sunlight is recharging them. And let's see how much power we have in the battery without charging it for quite a while. Okay. So our battery power is 10.3 volts. So we have 10.3 volts, if you can see that there. All right, so we have this wired. If we put this across the 12 volts, we have a flickering orange light. We'll see how well that does tonight. Okay, now the other thing I'm going to use are these lights. So we'll have to wire on a connector on this. Now what I'm doing is using roughly a 1K resistor to drop the voltage down from the 12 to 14 volts down to a safe voltage for these lights, which is around 3 volts. So these are actually 976K. It's close enough to 1K. And this is the positive lead, which it won't hurt it if you reverse the leads on these. It just won't work the lights because they're diodes. They only work in one direction. Definition of a diode: only works in one direction. Okay, so those will be pretty out there. So let's get to this. Okay, first thing we need to know is the plugs. I purchased a number of these automotive plugs, and I've got one set that I put aside here so that I always know that this end will always go to the lights, this end will always go to the power or come from the power. And to loosen these, you just lift up on this tab and pull it out. So it's got a nice seal to keep everything dry, keep it from getting wet and soaked outside. So these are nice. They're a little more pricey than what I would have liked, but we're good. Okay, now this one I've already hooked up, and you can see the small end is the lights end, so that goes to the lights. Okay, we'll put this one aside for right now. These go out to the lights. So where's our indicator? Here it is. Okay, so from the power, this will have a light side, so this is one of these. Now I have one shorter than the other. So I want the black to be there. I want the red to be cut right here. All right, time to solder. Now these are heavier wires, so we're going to turn the soldering iron up. And of course, as before, we need to tin the wires. Now that one I've tinned already. And black to black. Well, it's still hot. Get the wires back into shape, which let's get this black and red done first here. Okay, very nice. Now let's try one of these. see. Goes red to red, black to black. Yep. See how this is going to work. Very nice. Very nice. Good colors. Now there's also another one that I'm looking at using. This light, and take a look at this. Starts off with red. As soon as I can get a good contact. There. Starts off with red. Switches to green. Goes to a blue. Very nice, gently changing lights. They add a little bit of spice of life. So it goes back and forth, different colors, changing throughout. Purple, red, blue, green. Okay, so we may use this one somewhere out there too. We also have a number of lights in the train buildings that we'll use. So lights can come in any size. Here we have one of our 124 scale lanterns that would normally hang in a caboose or anywhere around the railroad. What I did was to start off drilling a small hole into the center of the globe from the bottom. Then I kept enlarging the hole until finally I got it big enough to put one of the 3mm LED lights in there. The light we're going to be using is an amber flame light. And of course we're going to end up painting the top and the bottom of the lantern black so that the light won't shine through that as much. So now we need to build a jumper cable to go from where these lights are going to set back to the solar system. So we will take one of these to go up to the power unit, and then a number of these will come off of the jumper to go to different light setups. Okay, and we're going to be using this cable. So for the time being, I'm just going to take that much, and we can always add more later. Nice and snug. Black on black. Send the coupler down. Nice. Nice and tight. All right. We have our jumper cable. We have a couple of lights. I think it's time to go test this stuff out. Okay, we have our wires hooked up. I have 2 sets of lights, and we have a little lantern to run. So let's come back tonight and we'll see how this does. Right now I think it's time to go run some trains. Let's go see some trains running. And so this is what the lights look like during the night. As we progress into the season, I'll be having more lights hooked up, and we'll show you those off and on through the different videos. The lights are always better in person than on a picture, so you just have to see them to believe them. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Be safe, stay healthy. We'll see you down the rails, and God bless.